the remix. Come on now.
Yeah, I like this. Can you feel it? Nothing can save you.
Hello, good morning. Tell me what the...
Today we're going to create a mashup, a fun and adventurous way to make something fresh out of something stale.
And we heard Girl Talk
on the aesthetic and legal margins of music.
When you experiment with cut-ups over a period of time, you find that some of the cut-ups seem to refer to future events. Stop at random and cut in a phrase. Now, how random is random?
No question, the most insidious virus in the midst of this illegal downloading of music is
some people with some samplers.
Glitch poppy noise. Sounds like Thunderphonics. Sounds like happy up-tempo, fun poppy girl.
Michael Jackson had the Mounties called in to confiscate all copies of the CD.
Now, before we get our freak on, we need to match up our beats.
I grew up, Napster was like high school for me, and I did like computer science, and so like I don't remember anything that was taught in like class, but I do remember what we did like in between, like doing homework or when the teacher wasn't there, was like we get on the internet, we're on Napster, we're doing peer-to-peer networking, and we're playing like, at that time it was Counter-Strike, and we're playing like, these shooting games, and then like we had to hide it when like the teacher would come. And so like, that's what I learned in the beginning. And so like, what Ari was saying about music, I remember this distinctly, ripping everything from like the internet and like downloading it. And then like there's even this documentary called Rip.
Girl Talk makes mashups. His computer is an instrument, and the notes he plays are sampled from thousands of pop music classics, cut up and rearranged to create new songs.
Yeah, this is the remix. Come on now.
Awesome, man.
Yeah, I saw my kid, man. It was awesome.
Yeah,
that gets pretty real right about there.
Oh yeah. Yeah. About started crying.
For real, yeah. Did you start recording, Story?
Yeah.
Sweet.
And it was highlighting remix artists and like someone like Girl Talk, and like where they'll get different songs, and it's just like this whole like collage and blend. And then I think that's like, for me as a young person, got exposed to like, at that time I was like mostly into punk, but then like I'll be like, okay, who's like all these other people that he's sampling in this song? And and it made it like really easy to like look up anything on Napster and like instantly get it. And then like, for me as a young person, that's like how I I really got into like these obscure bands that I was able to see when they came into LA or different things like that. And then like for me as a little punk kid, is like that's what I used it as like finding the most obscure person, and then like buying their merch and like going to their like small little gigs. Especially like early on, message boards and like different things that I was in when I was young really made it easy to find, backyard gigs and different things like that. Later, we all know kind of what happens with social media, makes that, I think, harder. And then more people are like performing for the algorithm, which I think changes music and scenes more than like the technology. I think I was watching Cory Doctorow, and he has this thing about a reverse centaur and a centaur, and basically like if the program is using you or you're using the program, like if you're like like for someone who's like successful on the internet doing something on their like podcast or whatever, I think later on they become like a slave to the algorithm, a slave to like getting into like maybe talking about topics they don't even want to talk about or whatever, just so they could stay relevant. I mean, I see this with like Joe Rogan, like, the best podcast was when he was just like hanging out with his friend Stone. And then when he's trying to get like these other people, it's like way out of his depth or whatever. And it becomes like not like what normal people were watching it for. and like it misses, like, you know, I think this is the thing with Suno too, is like internet content was like punk, you know, it was like me, you doing it, and we're like ripping you know, old movies and other music videos, and it has like, just like that movie that was played, Troubadour in '99, like it was, you know, found footage, and then it's like a spoken narrative over it, and then like that's what a lot of like early tribulation, and like that's what like internet documentaries and stuff were kind of like, you know what I mean? It's like, it's just like regular people making collages and like, you know, speaking what they want to say and add to the narrative. But like now, even like podcasts are more produced. You know, like the Suno music is good, but it's like over good. Like it's like, you know, that uncanny valley, a lot of stuff. And even though as far as, you know, I get weird in my prompting, I still like, you know, it's not really as weird as I envisioned in my own mind, you know? Yeah. And the only way to get it to that weird is like my phrase now is getting my manos in there, getting my hands in there and like messing around with it. It's like going back to that reverse centaur or centaur. I think what makes the tool of the large language model good or bad or slop or not is like it challenges you to like, because every time I wanted to get like better at it, and like I wanted it to like be more exact, to where, you know, like now I only like for the candy splatter, once I had the main image, like then it was easy. Like I was able to like, okay, this is the scene, and then boom, boom, boom. But once I didn't have that like character or like that way in, like it was hard. It was like, I don't like any of these images. All these images suck. You know, they're all lame. I can't put this at the show, you know? And he's like, But then like once I had the main image or like the vibe or whatever, and then I was able to like teach it to do that, and then I'm like, do more of that. And then like get like really like weird about like the different motions that I want, because, you know, I know how to like video edit. So, but anyways, that kind of stuff, like I think what I've seen, you know, getting forced upon. There's this recent article I read about Harvard dismantling its writing group, and everybody getting upset about that. But they're like thinking, you know, oh, we're just going to replace it with like a chat bot, and like and that's way different. Like getting, you know, human feedback, and then versus like a chat bot. As much as I use AI, I value like someone like Bob Dub, who I constantly like give her something, and she gives me feedback, or she asks me questions. And then like there's, you know, that old Brian Gibson, William S. Burroughs, a third mind kind of comes up, because what Bob Dub views of whatever I give her is like totally different than what I would view it as. And I'm like, oh, why are you thinking about that, Bob Dub? And then like, but whatever she finds interesting, I go, okay, you know, I didn't think about that, but I pull on that thread, and I get to places that I wouldn't get on my own. You know, like that's how the whole Obsidian Butterfly came about. It was Bob Dub, not me. I'm just like, you know, the one who played with it the most. But anyways, those are
gotta
just
have a real human to collaborate with once in a while. Although Claude has been very, very, very kind to me.
It's not necessarily a quantity of people, but the quality. And if you get really good people that you could have a back and forth with, it like empowers you, and it makes your art better, it makes your thoughts better, and it gets everything rolling.
Our music from different genres seems untouchable. You know, Elton John seems untouchable. Obviously, they create that, and they force that idea in your mind that these people are superstars and untouchable. So just being able to just manipulate and do whatever you want, you know, just kind of put Elton John in a headlock and just, you know, put a beat behind him and pour a beer on his head.
Whether or not you think this music is original isn't the point, because the rules of this game don't depend on who made the songs.
Where did you go, Alice Cooper? Our nation turns its bloody black eyes to you.
basement tapes.
I gotta keep pace.
For the 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 basement tapes.
I gotta keep pace. I gotta keep pace.
For the basement tapes.